Hello everyone, it's me again, Dr. Zach. It's time to review your inverse functions and their derivatives. So let's get started. For number one, did you write the equation of your tangent line? So once again, that rather sneaks up on you. So L is going to be negative x plus 2, and M is going to be negative 2x plus 3. So from the equation of the tangent lines, you can use your distance formula. And since you're looking for the difference, make certain you subtract your two answers. This next question, B, do you recognize the definition of the derivative? If so, remember to find the derivative of the function that you're dealing with. In this case, it would be the derivative of sine squared. So the derivative of an inverse function, if you're not going to switch your x and y's and use implicit differentiation, please remember that the derivative of your inverse at PQ is the reciprocal of the derivative of f of x at QP. So when we use that, let's take a look at example 1. We're going to find first our value when we have x is 2. What is the y value so that we can substitute that value into our derivative. Take 2, set it equal to x cubed plus 2x minus 1. Do a little bit of magic. X cubed plus 2x minus 3 tells us that x must be equal to 1. So if x is equal to 1, when you set it equal to 2, then the point that we have for x and f inverse of x is going to be 1. So now I take my derivative, f prime of x, which gives me a 3x squared plus 2, and I'm looking specifically for f prime at 1, which is 5. So what is the derivative of the inverse at its value, x equals 2? Well, that is the reciprocal. For example 2, very similar problem. So this time, we know we have our x and our y values, but we're looking for the derivative at negative 1. So let's find f prime of x. That's going to be equal to 5x to the 4th plus 2. Then we're going to substitute in f prime at 0. And when we get f prime at 0, the answer is 2. So the derivative at negative 1 is going to be equal to the reciprocal, which is 1/2. All right, so give the next couple of problems a try. Turn off your video once you've practiced, then, of course, check your answer. For question 1, you know that the derivative of g prime of x is the derivative of the inverse of f. Since f of 6 is equal to 3 and f prime of 6 is negative 2, then the derivative of the inverse at 3 must be equal to the reciprocal. So we know that g prime of x is the derivative of the inverse of f. We also know that f of negative 2 is equal to 4. So f prime of negative 2 also it happens to be 4. So the derivative of g at 4 must be the reciprocal, or 1/4. For question 3, we follow the same process. We know that we are looking for f inverse derivative at negative 2. We find that f at 5 is negative 2. The derivative of 5 is negative 1/2. So the solution we seek is g prime of negative 2 is negative 2. Question 5, we know that when x equals 1, we're going to end up with a 3. So f prime at 1 is equal to 4. The reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. And then question 6, we know that f at 0 is equal to 1 after we solve for this function. And f prime at 0 is equal to 3. So our reciprocal is 1/3. Number 7, quite a fun little problem. I hope you enjoyed it. So we're going backwards this time. The derivative at some arbitrary value of a is going to equal 5. And we also know that f at a has to be equal to 20. So with that in mind, let's look at our choices. The derivative for question A does not equal 5. It does for question B, but only if x is 0. Same thing for option C. D will never equal 5, so that one is not an option. So now let's check what happens when x is 0, f at 0 is 20. When x is 0, f at 0 is 14. So our answer becomes obvious. So let's check through question 8. Make certain you can find a second derivative given the first derivative. When you're writing the equation of your tangent line, be literal with your derivatives and then substitute. The equation of the tangent line does not have to be solved for y, but you may if you would like. Question C involves a very careful chain rule and then substitution. Now, where do we get f prime at 4 from? Think about that for a minute. And then, of course, question D uses the process we've been practicing for this lesson. So today, your lesson follow-up, you're going to complete 3 free response questions. Set a timer for 45 minutes, so that's 15 minutes per problem. Do not look up your answers. You may use a calculator for questions 1 and 2 only. Make certain that you are practicing properly. Afterwards, you're going to correct your work using your rubric and write your score out of 27 on the top of your answer sheet. Make certain that you turn in all your work, including the corrected assignment. So that's it. You have a fabulous day.